Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about most controversial topic enlightenment and modernity. So what is enlightenment? The enlightenment, also known as the age of reason, was a 17th and 18th century intellectual movement that emphasized on reason, rationality, universalism, progress and many other things. On the other hand, modernism or modernity refers to the social, cultural, and economic changes that emerged in late 18th and 19th century. While the Enlightenment laid the intellectual groundwork, modernity represent the practical, societal, and the cultural transformation. Overview. Enlightenment and modernity are often conjoined. Enlightenment, also called the Age of Reason, is believed to have begun in 18th century Europe. Enlightenment brought new ways of thinking, changed way of knowledge was understood, and organization of states and society based on that knowledge. It contributed to rise of modernity while there was a significant break with the view of life from past. Progress, humanity, liberty, human rights, fraternity, and tolerance were promoted by Enlightenment. By supporting constitutional government and separation between church and state, Enlightenment was or went against the absolute monarch and church and paved a way for American and French Revolution. When in 14th century the capitalism began to emerge and feudalism began to decline, a new intellectual movement started which was called as Renaissance. Renaissance elaborate the beginning of Western modernity. Renaissance refers to rebirth of or reawakening. The thinkers of modernity and enlightenment including Machiavelli, Martin Luther, Modin, Francis Bacon, Locke, Montesquieu, Rousseau, Adam Smith, Immanuel Kant, Hegel, David Ricardo and many others. Let's discuss about the characteristic of modernism or enlightenment. It is very much anthropocentric. Anthropocentric means man-centric or human-centric. During the Renaissance, man began to take a comparatively independent parts in arts, painting, social and intellectual thought, and he began to make his own decision and moves towards the uh, cultivation of intellectual desires. Modern way of thinking is based on anthropocentrism. That means after the emergence of capitalism, the modern way of life enhanced the path for human beings. During the Enlightenment, it grew into anthropocentric, which indicate that man was now firmly placed in the center. The second point is scientific temperament. During Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci, Bruno, Copernicus, Galileo, etc. cultivated a scientific temperament. In the time of Renaissance, it culminated into scientism, which insisted that all other kind of knowledge are unscientific. The other kind of belief is seen as false and not valid. They gave importance on rationality. The third point is secularism. It is the most important principle of modernism because it make distinction between state and church. The Prince by Machiavelli was of greater emphasis on separation of politics from religion. The fourth point is rationalism. During the Renaissance, there was a change in the attitude of humans because now blind faith began to be questioned. Thus, reason and rationality seem to have become the central principle of social life as well as social thought. Reason will guide social restructuring, and rationality was considered liked and desired. The next point is Individualistic. The modernism or enlightened thinker always emphasis on individualism or individualistic thinking, and after the emergence of Renaissance, the individualistic thought seen in every sphere of life. The individualistic thinking pattern restricts collective value. Many individual thinkers in 19th century, namely Adam Smith, Ricardo, John Locke, and so on. Modernism has faced so many criticism. In this case, the first criticism is it is more about meta-narrative. Postmodernism and post-structuralism do not believe in any kind of meta-narrative, since no one narrative can claim universal validity and universal truth. For instance, what is applicable to European politics may not be applicable to the third world, and so no theory should have universal truth claim. The second criticism is critique of scientism. Postmodernism argued that social life could not be regulated by the principle of scientism because it presents a mechanical worldview that not only dehumanizes mankind but also a conflict with nature. They believed that whole experience of life cannot be captured in the cage of scientific knowledge. The third is pluralism. Western modernity believes in more and more homogeneity, but this has been criticized by postmodern and post-structural thinker, and they argue that pluralism and enrichment to our culture, civilization, knowledge, and human relation, everything prospers through heterogeneity, diversity, and pluralism. The fourth and last point is critique of secularism. Western secularism has been questioned by postmodernism, post-structuralism, post-colonialism, and subaltern studies because they thought that our complete separation between two domains is not possible, since there are areas where overlapping takes place. This criticism has influenced by many third world thinkers, namely T.N. Madan, Ashish Nandi. Thank you. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe.